This is a new chapter called as Input and Output Operators. In this chapter, we shall take a look how we read data from the keyboard and how do we display output onto a monitor or any other output devices. Before we head to how we read data from the keyboard or how do we display onto the monitor, it is essential to understand a concept called as streams in C++. First thing, let me clarify a few things. The standard input device or the common input device is generally your keyboard or the mouse. What is your standard output device or your common output device? It is your display monitor. So standard in is keyboard, standard out is monitor. Keyboard and mouse, monitor and your network are not the only input and output devices. There can be a number of input devices, there can be an innumerable number of output devices. Now your C++ program should not get into the headache of dealing with the complexity of talking to all these different input and output devices. Therefore, a concept called as streams is introduced. There are two types of stream. I'll let you know what is a stream. For now, you can think of stream as an interface between your C++ code and the input or output devices. So what input stream does is it provides one character at a time to your program. Output stream supplies one character to a program from a program to the output device. Now the advantage of having this stream concept are these streams are nothing but they are also programs and data known as objects. So let me repeat, streams are also programs and data known as objects which acts as an interface between your program and input and output device. So your program doesn't directly talk to the keyboard or the monitor. It reads from the stream or writes to the stream. The stream displays it on the monitor and the stream here provides the data from the keyboard onto your program. So in C++, all right, input is coming in from the keyboard through a object or through a program called as cin, and cout is another object or a program which helps to take data from your program and display it onto the monitor. Both of these cin and cout objects or programs, for now you can think, are declared in the header file called as iostream.h. iostream contains the prototype declarations for these input and output objects. Now what is the advantage of this stream? The advantage of this stream is, why is it called stream is called an abstraction? Because you do not need to know how a keyboard works, how a monitor works. This input stream manages the talking with the keyboard, output stream manages talking with the monitor. All that your program is doing is just providing or reading data from the input stream and providing data to the output stream. That means it is reading using cin and writing using cout without bothering how cin and cout deal with the keyboard file network. Same with monitor file and network. So they manage the device complexity. So this is the input stream, this is the output stream. The advantage is your program does not have to bother about talking to different kind of devices and dealing with their complexity. Okay, so right now you can simply think of a stream as an interface or a program which sits between your code and input or output device and many other things, so that your program can read from an input device as well as write from an output device. We shall be taking a look at two objects or two programs called cin and cout which help us to read and write data onto the output screen respectively. Now, in order to read data from the input stream, we use an input stream extraction operator called as this one. Why do we use this? In C++, we need to extract from this. Therefore, we are using this operator. The operator is followed by the name of the variable that is going to get the result of whatever is entered from the keyboard or file and going to be stored. So let me show you this particular thing through a diagram. This will make it a lot more clear. So here what you have is, let us say I am typing something into the keyboard. This cin program or object gets the data from the keyboard and keeps it ready as a series of bytes. That means one byte is 8 bits. So one character at a time it keeps ready. So using this input or stream extraction operator, we extract data which is present in this program and store it in the variable which is going to be used by our program. Let me make it very clear. This is the keyboard. Cin talks to this fellow, gets all the data that is typed as a series of characters here. This input extraction operator extracts that data one at a time and stores it in the variable. So this is what is the function of the input operator. Now, what we are going to do here is, let us try to take a look, all right, how we are going to read input and output into a using a cin operator. So what we shall do is, we shall first try to understand how data is read using cin, and how subsequently how data is written using cout. All right, so let's take a look at this code segment. So just take a look here. First, what I have done here is, I have declared a integer variable of the type age. Now using cin, what I am doing is, whatever I enter into the keyboard, it goes to cin and cin directs it to the variable called as age, or I am extracting from cin using this particular operator into a variable called as age. So the first statement declares a variable of the type integer called age. The second statement waits for input to be entered into the keyboard, and the cin uses to extract the data or talks to keyboard to get the data from the keyboard and store it or pass it on to the variable called as age. This greater than twice sign is called as input operator or stream extraction operator, because it extracts the data from cin and stores it in age. Now, cin simply stands for console input. Your console devices are keyboard and monitor. Cin can only accept the data once you type in the data and you must press the enter key. If you don't press the enter or return key, the data does not get accepted by the cin till that time. The data type of the variable, okay, now the data type of int is age. So age is a container or a box which can hold a value. So the data type of the age variable, okay, is used by cin to process or format the data and provide it to age. For example, if this was real number or floating point, then cin would process that character data accordingly and pass it as a float. If this was a character, it would process it as a single character and send it to age. If this was a double type of data, it would process it as a double type of data and send it to age. So this data type declaration, now you understand why it is important, because cin needs that information to create the data in the format required by the variable and pass it on to the variable.